What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about Social Security, and I want to answer a question because I see this over and over again. I'm going to read the comment, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. So this is from Harris. He says, if Congress repays the debt owed to the Social Security Trust Fund, the trust fund would be flush with $4.2 trillion owed to this fund. David, do your research, and you will find that I speak the facts. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about this, and I think it's interesting because I've heard this before. Congress took money from the trust fund, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now when it comes to the trust fund. So we'll talk a little bit about the trust fund, what that means, and then we'll talk a little bit about answering this comment that Harris posted. So we're going to talk about that in this video, but first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification, clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about where we are right now when it comes to Social Security and the trust fund, because the trust fund is what most people are focused on. So when you hear people talk about Social Security is going bankrupt, well, Social Security as a whole is not going bankrupt. We're talking about the trust fund. The trust fund will be depleted in about 10 years. So 2033, 2034, 2035, around that area. Experts don't have a termination date, but they're saying around that time, that's when we're going to see the trust fund completely depleted if Congress doesn't act. Okay, now if Congress acts, they reform Social Security, this will not be an issue. But they have to do this. They only have about 10 years to do this. And the longer that they wait, the longer that Congress waits to do something, the worse it's going to be. Because if the trust fund runs out right now, we're looking at about a 23% cut across the board. So people who are receiving Social Security benefits right now would see a 23% cut in their benefits. And the reason for that is because the Social Security Administration is getting money from the payroll tax, so that FICA tax, that's at about 70, if you want to look at about 77%. Let's just say it's 77%. That's what's coming in from the payroll tax. The trust fund right now, you need about 23%. They're taking 23% from the trust fund every month in order to meet the payments when it comes to your Social Security benefits. And so that's the issue right now. Currently, there's about $2.7 trillion in the trust fund, but that will only last us about 10 years. Okay, so now we have that out of the way. So the comment here that I just read, talking about we borrowed money from the trust fund. There is no evidence that any money was taken from the trust fund. There's no evidence that Congress took money from the trust fund and used it for something else. And so I can't say that, that what this person's saying when it comes to taking money, Congress took money, there's no evidence of that. But let's just say Congress did take that money. Let's just say that, okay? Like I said, there's no evidence of this, but let's just say that Congress took the money. Congress is not going to pay it back. We're going to pay it back if that was a situation, okay? So if we were looking at a situation where Congress went in there and they took this trust fund money and they spent it on something else, then guess what? We're the ones that are going to have to pay it back. So it's not going to be Congress. Congress doesn't have some secret fund, money somewhere where they can just pull it out and it's not tied to the American people. That money is going to come from our tax dollars, regardless of how you look at it. So if you want to raise the payroll tax now in order to reform Social Security, do it that way. That way the trust fund won't be completely depleted. That's one way of doing things. But the money is going to come from the American people. So when you guys leave comments like that saying that Congress needs to pay it back, guess what? Congress doesn't have any money. Congress's money is coming from us. And that's why we have this representative government. That's why we vote these politicians into office to represent us, because they are handling our money. And so in situations like this, if we were to say that Congress did borrow the money, guess what? We have to pay it back. Okay, that's the bottom line. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there. So moving forward, when it comes to what Congress needs to do, they need to bring in more revenue when it comes to the Social Security Administration, or bring more revenue in for the Social Security Administration. And the only real way to do that is by raising taxes. Raising the cap is one way to do it. So people making $160,200 or more will have to pay into the payroll tax again. Right now, they don't have to. So you can do that, and you raise that cap, and then you're going to bring in more revenue, and that money can go to reforming Social Security. Or you can raise the payroll tax across the board for everyone working. So if you're working right now, you're currently paying 6.2%. Your employer is paying another 6.2%, and that's 12.4% that is going to the Social Security Administration. They can raise that payroll tax across the board, and you can raise it up 1%, 2%. You don't have to raise it up that much in order to take care of the trust fund, that, the issue that we're having right now when it comes to Social Security. But in order for Congress to reform Social Security, they're going to have to raise taxes. I've been saying this over and over again. Politicians don't like to talk about raising taxes because they fear that they're going to lose their job if they talk about raising taxes. But in situations like this, I think it's appropriate. And I think most of the American people who are working right now, paying into the payroll tax, most of those people would say, you know what? If you raise it 1%, if you raise it 2%, I'm okay with that as long as I'll be able to get Social Security when I retire. I think most people would be okay with that. Because what's the alternative? Me taking a 23% hit when I retire, or paying 1% now and being able to collect my full retirement? Now, obviously, there has to be a guarantee in there, and they have to know, they have to do the numbers. You have to have experts that are involved in this so they know that if you raise it 1% or if you raise it 2%, you're guaranteed to have Social Security, around for another 75 years. If they can make that guarantee, then yes, I think people would buy into this because it makes sense. It's the right way to do things. Let's say you're 40 years old now, you've been working 20 years, you've been paying into a payroll tax for 20 years. You think you want to risk not getting your full amount when you retire? No, you'll say, hey, you know what? Increase it another 1% to ensure that I'll be able to get my full Social Security retirement benefits. And so I think lawmakers really need to be honest with the American people. And I know when it comes to raising taxes, they like to dodge this issue. They've been dodging Social Security for years now, and you don't have too many politicians that are coming out and saying, look, this is what we need to do. I mean, there are a few proposals that are out there, but they very rarely go anywhere because you have lawmakers that will just say, no, I don't want to talk about raising taxes. And then you have some lawmakers that are just trying to, they got a good job. They get paid well. They only work I don't even know how much they work, but they're going on recess at least once a month, and they're going, taking off on Thursdays. And I mean, it's just crazy how beneficial it is to be a politician when it comes to actually working. They're not working very much, and they're not doing very much when it comes to legislation right now. I mean, it's just a lot of hearings on this and hearings on that. But when it comes to actually legislating, when it comes to actually helping the American people, you're not seeing too much of that right now. And it's unfortunate. And we've voted these people in office, and maybe in 2024, we'll realize, hey, you know what? Some of these people are not here to help us. Some of these people are here just to create chaos and to try to deepen their pockets. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. People have asked this question over and over. I made this statement over and over. Congress needs to pay back the money that they borrowed. Congress needs to pay back the money that they borrowed. The reality is, if Congress was paying back the money that they borrowed, it's not going to be Congress. It's going to be us paying back the money that they borrowed, if you want to look at it that way. But like I said, there's no evidence of that. I can't find any evidence that Congress went into the trust fund and was taking money out of the trust fund. There's just no evidence of that. It's actually a part of the law when it comes to Social Security is that money is separate from the general fund. Congress doesn't have access to that money. They want access to that money, They do want access now, but they don't have access, and they didn't have access in the past, so they couldn't just dip into that trust fund and take that money out. And so hopefully I answered that question. If you guys have any other questions, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.